Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Sincerely Jacqueline. Today I have two high-end Dollar Tree rustic farmhouse DIYs that I think you guys are going to like. I tried to do something a little bit different than my usual design style, so I really hope that you like these two rustic farmhouse DIYs. So let's get started. So the first one is this really cute rustic planter. So you're going to need a plastic jar. You're going to need a package of wood slices, and you're probably going to need 4 or 5 packages of them from the Dollar Tree. You're going to need 1 package of wood stumps. So what I did is I grabbed my plastic jar and just cut off the top of the jar with an X-Acto knife. Please be careful while you're doing this step. And I kind of just did it off of camera so I could cut it better. And then what I did is I spray painted the plastic jar black. I didn't spray paint the inside, but if that's gonna bug you, I would spray paint the inside. And what you want to do is grab your wood slices and you just want to glue it onto the jar. And I didn't really have any pattern I was going to. I just took smaller and bigger pieces and glued it onto my plastic jar. So for this DIY, you're going to need 4 wood stumps like what I'm showing here, and they came in various sizes. What I did is for the smaller stumps is I got my cousin who is good at woodworking to cut those stumps into slices so I can fit it at the top of the planter or those little spaces in there. Okay, so what you want to do next is grab your wood stumps. And I just grabbed 4 of them that were pretty much the same height, just to make sure that your planter is well balanced. If you find that one's a little bit shorter, you can always cut a little piece of foam board and just place it on your planter first and then glue the legs to level it out. So to use my planter, I went to the store and bought a simple plant. And what you want to do is you want to buy a plant that is going to fit perfectly into your planter. Okay, guys, and here is the final product. I absolutely love this DIY. I think it has a rustic farmhouse vibe to it, but it's also pretty modern, and I could so see this being sold in some of your favorite stores like Urban Outfitters. So for DIY number 2, we are making this really cool hanging planter. If you remember from my last video, I had done something very similar, so just check the description box for that, but I wanted to make it in a rustic farmhouse theme. So what you're going to need for this DIY is a cake pan. You're gonna need styrofoam. You're gonna need a foam board, some chalkboard signs, black and white paint, an aluminum pan cover from the Dollar Tree, and some nautical rope. So what you're first going to do is you're going to just trace out half of the baking pan onto your styrofoam. And basically what you want to do is just cut it so that it fits into your baking pan. And this is very similar to the last DIY that I did. Next, you want to set this piece aside. You want to do the same thing for your foam board as well. Next, you want to take your foam board and you want to trace out the shape onto your aluminum material. When you're cutting out your aluminum material, you want to cut a little bit more just so you have some room to fold over the material onto your foam board. Next, you want to sand down your baking pan because you want the paint to adhere. You also want to sand down your aluminum material as well. Next, I took some black and white paint and I mixed it together to make a dark gray color. And what we're going to be doing is using a sponge to create a galvanized finish. I'm just using the sponge to stipple on the paint. Next, you want to mix up a lighter gray color, and you want to do the same technique. Now I'm just taking an extra sponge and I'm just patting down or stippling the paint to just kind of blend it a little bit more. And then I'm taking a lighter color gray and doing the same technique. You want to do this technique in thin layers so you can build on the paint. So next what I did is I didn't have any brown paint, so I used an oil pastel to just add some rust onto my pan. And you want to do that to the front as well. Next, you want to take your styrofoam and glue it onto your pan. Then you want to glue the aluminum material onto your foam board. You want to be very careful because aluminum can be very hot. And then you want to take your excess aluminum material and you want to fold it down. And I'm just taking some paint and finishing off the edges. Next, you want to glue that piece onto the front of your pan. And I'm just using some E6000 and hot glue. So to allow this planter to hang, I just took some nautical rope and I glued it to the back of the pan. So to give it a finishing look, I just took some of these chalkboard signs and some flowers that I had from Walmart and some greenery from Walmart. And I'm just inserting the flowers into the planter. Now, because I want to reuse some of these flowers, I'm just bending them in and tucking them into the planter. And I'm just adding my greenery. Next, I wanted to finish off the sign by using these chalk pens from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just gluing the sign onto the front of my planter. Now I'm just taking a little piece of twine because I felt like it was missing something to cover that hole, and I just made it into a bow and glued it on. And there you have it, guys. A beautiful rustic farmhouse hanging planter. I love how it turned out. I really like the two different textures. If you don't like the two different textures, you can always just use the foam board and do that painting technique. But I absolutely love how realistic it looks like. It actually looks like a galvanized finish. So I hope you enjoyed these two rustic farmhouse DIYs. Please leave a comment below at which DIY that you enjoyed. And please, guys, leave a comment below and let me know what type of design style that you're interested in. Are you interested in seeing more boho DIYs, farmhouse, modern, glam? Let me know. And don't forget, guys, if you like what you see, please subscribe and hit the alarm button for further notifications on my next video. Also, if you want to see further information about these DIYs, please head to my blog at www.sincerelymissj.com. It will have all the list of materials that I used and written instructions. Please find that link in the description box. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you. Bye.